took his melancholy dinner in his usual melancholy tavern, and having read all the newspapers, went home to bed. He lived in chambers which had once belonged to his irascible old partner, Marley, a gloomy suite of rooms, old and dreary, where no one lived but Scrooge, the other rooms being let out as offices. Once in his apartment, he closed and locked the door, and in his usual fashion put on his dressing gown and slippers, and sat down before the fire to take his evening gruel. The fire was very low indeed, casting eerie shadows on the wall, and he was obliged to sit close to it and brood over it before he could extract any warmth from it. As he leaned forward in his chair, his glance happened to rest upon a bell, a disused bell that hung in the room and communicated, for some purpose long forgotten, with a chamber in the highest story of the building. It was with great astonishment that, as he looked, he saw this bell begin to swing, first softly, then so loudly that every bell in the house joined in and rang also. This must have lasted a terrifying hour. The bell ceased, only to be followed by a clanging noise down below, as if some person were driving a heavy chain over the castles of the wine merchant's cellar. Then the factors and ghosts in haunted houses described this dragging chain. Then followed a series of strange sounds, as of feet mounting stairs coming closer and closer toward his room. Scrooge, suddenly aware that some weird happening was about to occur, hugged his shivering body and waited in fear and trembling.
I know you. Marley's ghost. How now? What do you want with me?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Who were you then?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Can you sit down?
I can.
Do it then.
You don't believe in me?
I don't.
What evidence would you have of my reality beyond your own senses?
I don't know.
Why doubt your senses?
Because a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheats. You, sir, may be an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragment of underdone potato. There is more of gravy than the gravy you, whatever you are. Humbug, I tell you, humbug. Mercy, why do you trouble me?
Man is worldly mind. Do you believe in me or not?
I do. I must. Why do spirits walk the earth, and why do they come to me?
It's required of every man, of that with the spirit within, to walk abroad among his fellow men in life. And if it should not go forth, it is condemned to do so after death. It is doomed to wander the world. Oh, woe is me. Witness what it cannot share, but might have shared and turned into happiness.
You are fettered. Tell me why.
I wear the chains I forged in life. I made them link by link, and of my own free will I wore them. Would you know the weight of the strong pearls you bear? They were as full as heavy as this 7 Christmas Eves ago. You labor on them to this day. It is indeed a ponderous chain.
Jacob Marley, tell me more. Speak comfort to me, Jacob.
I have none to give. Comfort comes from other regions, Ebenezer, and is conveyed by other ministers to other kinds of men. Nor can I tell you what I would. A very little more is all permitted to me. I cannot rest. I cannot stay. I cannot linger anywhere. In life, my spirit never wandered far beyond the narrow limits of our counting house. Mark me and the weary journeys that lie before me.
You must have been very slow about it then.
Slow.
7 years dead and traveling all the time?
The whole time. No rest. No peace. Incessant torture of remorse.
You travel fast?
On the wings of the wind.
You must have covered over a quantity of ground in 7 years.
O captive bound in double iron, not to know that a Christian spirit is worked kindly in its little sphere, whatever it may be, will find its mortal life too short for seconds of usefulness. Not to know that no space of regret can make amends meet for one's life's opportunities misused. Yet such was I. Oh, such was I.
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business? Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. At this time of the rolling year, I suffer most. Why did I walk through crowds of fellow beings with my eyes turned down, and never raised them to that blessed star, which led the wise men to that poor abode? Were there no poor homes to which its light would have conducted me? Hear me, my time is nearly gone.
I will, but don't be hard upon me, don't be flowery, Jacob, pray.
How it is that I appear before you in a shape that you can see, I may not tell. I've sat invisible beside you many a day. That is no light part of my penance. I'm here tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate, Ebenezer.
You were always a good friend to me, thank you.
Hear me. You will be hunted by 3 spirits.
Is the chance and hope you mentioned, Jacob?
It is.
I think I'd rather not.
Without their visits, I cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow evening, when the clock tolls 1.
But couldn't I just take them all at once and have it over, Jacob?
Expect the second the next night, at the same hour. The third upon the next night. And then the last 12 ceases the library. Look to see me no more. No more.
Running to tell me that Father had sent a coach for me for Christmas. How she clapped her little hands, she danced around. We would all spend a Merry Christmas together. I did, merrily, with my trunk tied atop the coach and the wheels dashing through the snow.
Your sister was a delicate creature, and the rest might have withered, but she had a very light heart.
So she had. I will not gainsay it, Spirit, God forbid.
She died a woman and had, I think, one child.
My nephew. Fred.
Shall we leave the boy at his death? Poor boy, poor lonely boy. What say you?
I wish, but it's too late now.
What's too late?
There was a boy, a caroler. I should have liked to give him something, that's all.
Let us see another